You told more lies. Never let the truth get in the way of a good story.
Welcome to MsMojo, and today we're taking a deep dive into the scandalous real-life events that inspired the second season of the anthology series Feud.
Truman.
Tell me everything.
Summary and plot synopsis of the season. After a triumphant first season, which delved into the intense rivalry between Hollywood actresses Joan Crawford and Bette Davis, Feud was quickly renewed. Originally intended to explore the relationship between Prince Charles and Princess Diana, the second season's narrative eventually shifted to acclaimed writer Truman Capote and his circle of high society New York socialites.
Truman Capote is our great protector, our best friend. We tell him everything, even the awful things we've all done to each other.
The sensational narrative is brought to life by an impressive lineup of A-list actors, including Naomi Watts, Diane Lane, Demi Moore, Chloe Sevigny, and of course, Jessica Lange. But who really was Truman Capote? And what led up to the dramatic fallout between him and the jet-setting socialites referred to as his Swans?
What did I do to deserve your contempt?
Who was Truman Capote? Born in 1924 in Louisiana, Truman Capote always knew he was going to be a writer.
And I became a famous writer, but it certainly didn't solve. I started to say all my problems. I'll amend that to say I don't think it solved any of my problems.
After cutting his teeth penning short stories, Capote gained widespread acclaim for his novels Breakfast at Tiffany's, later adapted into the classic film starring Audrey Hepburn, and the nonfiction masterpiece In Cold Blood. The latter, about the 1959 Clutter family murders, became an instant success and is often credited with sparking a global fascination with true crime.
The point is that if they did do it, human nature is so peculiar that really millions of people would watch it and get some sort of vicarious sensation out of it.
Capote was an intriguing personality. In addition to his unique high-pitched voice and unconventional fashion style, he was also known for weaving sensational tales. In many ways, this would lead to his eventual downfall.
I was the protege of a team of monster IQ people.
Well, you said once you were a protege of a fortune teller.
Yes, but that was much earlier, you know.
Capote's rise to Manhattan high society. The success of In Cold Blood granted Capote access into the elite circles of New York City. Even more, his penchant for embellishing encounters with the most famous people at the time made him seem a lot more connected than he actually was.
Dashed down to the bar around midnight to end in the next day's scenes. And Humphrey had just about moved into the hotel bar.
Humphrey Bogart.
Where he and John
Houston.
They drank every night.
The same year the book was released, Capote solidified his position in high society by hosting the exclusive Black and White Ball in honor of Katharine Graham, the publisher of The Washington Post. He was now fully integrated into Manhattan's social elite, forming a tight-knit circle of female friends he fondly referred to as his Swans.
Why on earth can you not trust me?
You know why. Because someday you'll use it.
That will never be true. I may not be a monk, but I certainly have a moral code.
Who were the Swans? The women who made up Capote's Swans were the who's who of New York City socialites, renowned for their opulent wealth, lavish fashion sense, and globe-trotting lifestyle. These women shared a close bond with Capote.
Now, he wasn't interested in them romantically. He was interested in a friendship with them, and also a little bit to spy is probably not the right word, but interested in their life and to kind of peek into that life they had.
They frequently attended New York events together and accompanied him on several international trips. While the real-life Swans included a few other socialites, the second season of Feud focuses on Capote's relationship with just 5 women: Babe Paley, Slim Keith, Lee Radziwill, CZ Guest, and Ann Woodward. Babe Paley. As the former fashion editor for Vogue, Babe Paley was known for her impeccable sense of style. Time magazine even recognized her as the world's second best-dressed woman in 1941.
It was just part of this extreme elegance that was reflexive with her.
Paley was married twice, adopting the last name of her second husband, William S. Paley, one of the founders of CBS. The renowned socialite cultivated her high society status for years, reportedly at the expense of a good relationship with her children. In the words of Truman Capote, Babe Paley had only one fault. She was perfect. Otherwise, she was perfect.
She put on her makeup. She'd put these incredible clothes on before she'd open that door and let her husband see her. So her life was a show from morning till night.
Slim Keith. Dubbed the original California girl, Slim Keith was renowned for her striking beauty and athletic prowess. Naturally, she caught the attention of several influential men, including Clark Gable and Ernest Hemingway.
Everybody knows that.
Well, I'm sure they do now.
However, despite their persistent advances, Keith ultimately chose to marry film director Howard Hawks. Interestingly, it was Keith who pulled famed actress Lauren Bacall into the limelight after showing Hawks her picture in a magazine.
After all, I am entitled to something. Don't you think so, Slim?
Keith later parted ways with the director as a result of his infidelity and eventually married British aristocrat Kenneth Keith.
He listened to me the way you'd listen to announcements in a train station. Just enough to hear if there's an emergency.
Lee Radziwill.
What's worse at a dinner party, sitting next to a snob or a bore?
Oh, I said a bore.
In the late 1960s, Truman Capote formed a close relationship with Lee Radziwill after he was hired to write the script for a television movie she was set to star in. Beyond her foray into acting, Radziwill was also a PR executive and a prominent interior decorator with a bank of wealthy clientele. But she was perhaps best known for being the younger sister of First Lady Jackie Kennedy. Although Babe Paley was Capote's primary female companion in the latter part of the 60s, as the 70s unfolded, Radziwill eventually assumed that role.
The Rolling Stone magazine asked Truman if he would write their tour. And so he was thrilled and delighted. And so he said, honey, you gotta come.
CZ Guest.
I'm not a study person at all about clothes or anything. I always just very natural. What you see is what you get.
CZ Guest could do it all. Born into an upper-class family among Boston's elite, Guest was an actress, author, columnist, horsewoman, and fashion designer. She often adorned herself in sophisticated, clean-cut pieces by luxury designers, earning her a reputation as a fashion icon.
I bet I could go anywhere and get some clothes and look absolutely fabulous, because I love to do that, of course. I just think it's very important to have your own look. If you can, I don't know.
Beyond the pages of style magazines, Guest also became a muse for esteemed painters and visual artists like Diego Rivera, Salvador Dali, and Andy Warhol. In 1947, she married Winston Frederick Churchill Guest, the first cousin of British Prime Minister Sir Winston Churchill. Ann Woodward. Of all the Swans, Ann Woodward had the most tragic story. Once a showgirl, Woodward wiggled her way into the upper echelons of society after marrying banking heir William Woodward Jr. In 1955, Woodward fatally shot her husband in their home, claiming that she had mistaken him for a burglar.
It was discussed at every party. It was, did she do it, and blah, 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 and lots of gossip and details and stuff, and people having the inside word, and, you know, the butler told them such and such.
Although she never faced criminal charges, the incident stirred controversy in New York and led to Woodward being ostracized from much of high society. Sadly, her association with Capote would further contribute to her downfall.
In 1975, Truman Capote penned a short story about a former prostitute who murders her husband, a thinly veiled dig at Anne.
The Feud.
I just began my novel and I had such a good morning writing that I want to celebrate.
The feud between Truman Capote and his Swans originated from his unfinished tell-all novel, Answered Prayers. Although incomplete at the time, Capote decided to publish 4 chapters of the book in Esquire magazine in 1975 and 1976. The most sensational one, titled La Côte Basque 1965, exposed the dirty secrets and scandals of Capote's Swans through thinly veiled characters, some of whose names were not even changed.
It's the best thing I've written.
You have to pull this. These are portraits of friends who have shared their deepest secrets with you. Why would you want to hurt them?
Capote revealed gossip about the British royal family, sparked rumors of extramarital affairs, and accused Ann Woodward of intentionally killing her husband. Needless to say, the publication of this chapter caused an uproar in New York high society and made Capote's Swans feel betrayed.
Your story cast its spell and took away everything I had.
The Swans hit back. So how did they respond to all of their dirty laundry becoming public knowledge? Apparently, even before Esquire published the controversial chapters, Woodward caught wind of their scandalous content.
You're telling people that I murdered my husband?
Bang, bang!
The potential aftermath of their publication allegedly drove her to take her own life in October 1975. As for the other women, they decided that it was Capote's unfettered access into their lives that had paved the way for the scandal. The only way to prevent such from ever happening again was to sever all ties with him.
We stand united, and we destroy him.
Oh, I'm in, honey.
Consequently, Capote found himself ostracized from elite social circles, with none of his swans ever speaking to him again. Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Capote's ostracized life and eventual death. The fallout from La Côte Basque 1965 caught Capote completely off guard. The book he once described as a lethal gun for all of its tantalizing revelations ultimately became the weapon that killed his social life.
He'll be cut off from all high society, and that will kill him.
Now estranged from his once tight-knit circle, Capote's substance use disorder worsened, leading to multiple rehab stints. From then on, his behavior in public grew more and more erratic.
You have had a history of alcoholism. Millions of people out there have also had the same problem.
Alcohol isn't the least of it.
Capote underwent plastic surgery and experienced a hallucination-based seizure in 1980, after which he largely retreated from public life. On August 25, 1984, Capote passed away from liver disease. Upon hearing the news of his death, longtime rival Gore Vidal described it as, quote, a wise career move.
I don't see why the dead should be immune. I think they're a good game myself.
With such a sensational subject, witty writing, and powerhouse performances, Feud seems poised for yet another exceptional season. Will you be watching? Let us know in the comments what parts you're most excited to see.
Shall I call, get our table for lunch? Goody good. And Big Mama, bring lots of gossip.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from MsMojo. And be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.